Hey everyone, my name is Saf. You are watching Grey on Tech TV, and if you have not done yet so do hit that subscribe button, like the video because this is my fuel of motivation that you guys are engaging through my content. Today we will be continuing on the array functions in Appian. This day we will be discussing one of the most popular functions used in Appian. Almost every piece of code, every expression rule, every interface, you may encounter this function. The name is index function. So what is index function? Index function is one of the most popular functions. It is a array function that is used to fetch the data specified at a particular index from a list. Generally, the list is a homogeneous list. So if a list is homogeneous means it is of similar type. Let's suppose you're having a list of students and their relevant details, and they are having roll number as their unique identifier. Now, if you want to bring the data out of that list for the student whose roll number is 41, so you can apply the logic and find the index of the student whose roll number is 41, and then you can use that index to index the entire data item out of that list. So that is the parent function that we'll be discussing today, index. Index is an array function which is used to fetch the data which is defined at a specific index. Earlier property function was used to do things which index is doing right now, but index is having more features, more capabilities compared to property function. So let's see index function practically, and then slowly we'll see how more dynamically we can use index function. A bank local variables, local bank test. We'll be defining a list of number integers for our sample list. You might have already known what is the use and scope of local variables. And then we are good. So here you can see that we are having a list of number integers, which is nothing but having 9 items specified at 9 indexes. Indexes in Appian starts with 1, whereas in Java it starts with 0. So local bank test, okay, spelling mistake, ignore me. So local bank test is 40. Okay, okay. So the local bank test is null. Test 1 is null right now. As you can see, now what we have to do is we have to apply the index function. Index. What I want to do is I want to get the value 78. Now, if you know the 78 lies at index 8, you can just pass the position and you will get the value. Index local bank test, position number 8 or the index number 8 and empty list. What did you got? Position number 8, value 78. So if you want to get the value 78, you can just index the actual index of the list and you'll get the item. Now, here comes the scenario. What is the main use of the data? Data is the master data from where you want to index. This is your master data. Next, index. Index is the actual, you know, it can be a value, it can be a text, or it can be a record field reference, record type reference out of the data from which you want to pull from the master data set. So right now the index is an integer index. It is a position out of the list which you want to fetch it out 78. And in the case of default, so what if this index cannot pull the data specified at this index? What if the function cannot pull the data specified at this index? So let's see, instead of local bank test, so if I do null and from the null data, I want to specify the value specified at 8th index. What I will get? I will get null, right? So what if I put an empty list here and then I'll see test, I will get an empty list. So in the case of an empty list and you have a specific index, you will get the default. Now instead of default, what we will be do? Now what will happen? So we get the default value. So default value will come up in the cases if the index is invalid. So if the data set is empty or index is not found in the data, then it will be the default value that will coming up. Now if I put a null value here, that means literally it's void, it's nothing. Then what will happen? See, we will not get the default value, we'll get null. Because you cannot index a null list. Null means it's not existing. You cannot index it, right? So the default will also be not catering up. So that is the concept. If I have a list and then I want to index and the eighth index is not found there, mm, again there is a condition. The type of default must be the same type. So it should be, for this case, it should be A, R, A. Now if the index is at 8th, then we are not able to get the null value and then we are able to see that the default is activated. In the null cases, it is non-comparable. That is why we are getting the null value. So no matter how much you see the documentation, there are 100 versions of different functions and different scenarios and different data types, which we can encounter in our daily lives. And there is no direct way of going through every scenario. My job is to help you understand how the function works and you can implement it in your project. Coming to the next scenario. So we are having a, you know, expression rule. So local bank test 2. We are having L rule bank LAN QR tracks, right? So we are having the specific ID we fetched up. So here you can see the data that the rule is producing is, if I show you the raw version, is success true, start index, batch size, total count, sort, field, and etc. So what if you want only the data? Or what if you want only the batch size? What will happen if you do 2? Seems it this rule is not having the data. So with this scenario, just wanted to show you how to fetch the specific uh, value in a homogeneous map or homogeneous list. So what you will do? Let's suppose I want to bring out batch size. Okay. So what I'll do is there are two ways. First is dot notation. You got 100. Second is index. So second is index. Okay. So there can be a rule which is producing the data. So in the data, it will be like more than one item or more than one item. So what we'll be doing? Index this rule which is producing the data, and you want to, what do you want to fetch? You want to fetch batch size and then empty list till you got the 100. So the difference between dot notation and index is index can handle null. or index can handle unprecedented, like unplanned situations of your code. If any blunder happens where this cannot produce the data or where the batch size cannot be found, it will give you a empty list. It will handle null scenarios. Now, let's suppose instead of batch size, what you want to index? If you want to index the sort info, let's see, the correct property. Okay, it is just sort. So if you want to index the sort info, then you got the sort info, right? So here you can see field is ID and ascending is true. So with this, we understood that we can index the data, which can be a dynamic data or a static data defined here. And you can play with the different types, and the default will work on the basis of what master data that you are trying to fetch the value from. Index is something that is the position or the index item. The item can be fetched at a specific index, and index is nothing but the position of the master list. So you can bring the data from your master list. In the coming scenarios, in the coming lectures, we'll be seeing more scenarios on index function and how we can club index function with other functions to make your code more dynamic. Till then, keep watching.